Now shut up. The show's starting.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another fabulous That's Entertainment, and a special one indeed. I'm telling you, this is a special show because of all times, of all days, for me to have a show with a gifted psychic and a clairvoyant on, it's the beginning of Mercury retrograde. Oh, shit. This is Esther Goldberg, and this is my fabulous friend, the wonderful, the gorgeous DEBRA TAITEL. What we can call it, Debbie. How are you, love?
I am great, and I am just super amused by all the little glitches that kind of happened even leading up to this. Oh, hey, did you send me the link to the show? No? Maybe now, 10 minutes beforehand, that would be a great time.
I know. It was so funny. Debbie and I go all the way back a few years with our mutual friend, Allie, God rest her soul, Allie, who's probably here. Probably she's the one that goes, I'll make the little witch forget to send the email link so you can sign in. But you and I have been friends for a very, very long time. And you are just super special. We're going to bring the music down. Yeah. I love doing that. Yes. Now, people, let me go over here. Oh, the comments have started. Kathy Leander's here. Hi, Kathy. How are you? What happens is you can't see all the stuff that I'm getting here, but I see all the people logging in from the different sites. They're logging in from Esther Goldberg, from YouTube TV, from Facebook, and what have you. So they're around, and they are there, and you just turned it on. So what happens is, hold on, let me see here. Let me reload my page up there, and I can usually see all the stuff. There it is. It's like what I told you, love. Remember I said when it comes up, the link will appear on your Facebook page and whatever. So they'll be able to see it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I got Mercury retrograde punked today. So none of that was up.
How did you
fine?
Got punked because I forgot to send you the link?
Probably, but that's okay. And first of all, I do want to thank you so much for having me, because this was and I love the opening and all of that. I feel very important and entertainmented. And so thank you so much. And honestly, I think this is a long time coming.
Oh, hell yeah.
I really do. And it's interesting. So, you mentioned Allie, and I actually want to 100,000%, I want to dedicate this show to Allie, because that's how we met.
Yes.
And I have heard her since the beginning of, like, right after you asked me, hey, come on the show and everything. Right. I heard her just laughing at me going, it's about time.
And she was kicking my ass the entire time. No, we've known each other then, and there was you and Corby, all part of that little Allie fan club. And Corby came on the same way. And then you kept sneaking in the background going, oh, what are they doing?
That's right.
And that's what I said, Debbie, get your ass on the show and we'll just sit and talk, because it's one of the wonderful thing I like to do with my show is, and especially when I have guests, I want it to be about the guest. I want to find out, when did we'll get to those questions, but because I've got a million of them. But for those people out there that are tuning in, most of you all know what Mercury retrograde is. And how long is it in retrograde this time?
So it starts today, and then it actually goes through October 18th. And hey, Alan. Oh, see, there's things popping up. I really like that. So it goes through October 18th, and then after that, there is a little bit of a slowdown. So think of it like a disc, right? If it's going to change directions, it's going to hang in the air the last day, and then slowly begin its forward motion. And the thing about Mercury retrograde, I'm always telling people, this is such a great time for reflection and revisiting things. And it always works for us, but everybody's so afraid of it. Oh no, there's delays. There's all kinds of these different things, but it actually is in the background. It's helping us.
Right.
So, yeah. And so this one's in Libra, which is actually asking us, so that's the scales,
Uh-huh.
balance and harmony. So
Right.
this particular one, and although I'm not an astrologer, I look at the energy of all these astrological things,
Right.
right? And I read the energy. And so what this particular one is asking us to do is to go turn our attention within and revisit all those things that are no longer in balance and harmony with where we are today, because we're always growing and changing. So yeah, this is an actual revisit, release, revamp, dot the I's, cross the T's,
Do the whole thing.
end the agreements with all those things that no longer serve.
I take notes for people. If you want to, you should grab a pen and paper and take notes, because I always do that, because ever since I had COVID, I have short-term memory loss. I can't even remember how to turn my computer off some days. But no, it's really, 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 really good. You know, I was born from an astrologer friend of mine did my chart. You know, I was born under Mercury retrograde, in which she said,
That explains some things.
she said Mercury retrograde doesn't affect me the way it affects other people.
Yeah.
You know, and what you just explained was something so incredible, because there's all I've seen people writing shit on online. And for those of you that are Deborah's fans, I have the mouth of a sailor, by the way. I drink, I have a cocktail, and I
warned them, by the way.
Okay, good. You warned them. So no. There are certain people that just instill fear about Mercury retrograde, you know, and it's like, for instance, someone who is gifted like yourself and as a clairvoyant and as a psychic medium. One of the things, you know, I have learned, and I'm sure you tell people, is that, you know, how many people get a reading and all of a sudden they have a reading and they wonder why nothing's not happening in the next 24 to 48 hours. And it's like, Mercury retrograde. It's all not going to go crazy and what have you. It's just it's, what is it? Allie used to say, forewarned is forearmed.
Yes. We used to talk about that all the time. It is a time for us to pay attention. In fact, it's a time of very high intuition as well. And so during this period, it is, this is like the perfect time to just slow down. Right. And give yourself a breath. If you're, you know, one of the things you're never supposed to do in Mercury retrograde is like write a contract. Okay. Right. And we talked a little bit, but that I'm also a real estate agent. I write most of my contracts during Mercury retrograde.
You don't sign them.
I have them signed and everything, but I pay extra attention to every little detail in that and have an extra set of eyes on it, even so that people, you know, and also, by the way, I expect the delays. And so then when they come, it's not a surprise. There's nothing, and knock on wood, and I am knocking on wood. I am a little superstitious like that. Everything has actually gone fine in the end. It's all about what ends up happening is like this weird truth thing comes out, right? There was some, you know, problem, let's say under the sink or, you know, something like that. And so it's really, it gives you pause to notice those things.
Right.
It's also a great time to go back and revisit projects that you put on the back burner.
Right. I'm like your textbook example today on the show.
Yes, you are.
All this stuff right now in my life.
Exactly. And it brings it all full circle. And it, let's say, so I read from a space of non-judgment. So I don't like good, bad, right, wrong, things like that, because that's really not neutral. But in this way, one of the things it does is it restores the balance.
Right. Now, what about people? Okay, you always hear, don't buy electronics during Mercury retrograde. Don't buy a computer. Don't buy whatever. I don't see the sales of Best Buy going down that often, but at the same time, I personally won't buy electronics.
Okay, so that is where I draw the line. I personally do not buy electronics.
Okay. During Mercury retrograde.
During Mercury retrograde.
And it makes sense. I have like the fear. I'm like, no, it's not going to happen to me. I won't do it. I won't do it.
It's crazy. And by the way, all these lines, do I need to go shut my blinds really quick? I could do that.
An example of buying electronics during Mercury retrograde is when I got the Samsung Note 7. Remember when they all started blowing up and catching on fire? I had to go. I went through two. Yeah, that's my third one.
You know, I figure there's really nothing that I need so badly that I need to buy it now.
Buy it now. It can wait 3 weeks.
I can wait till a week or two after. And by the way, do you want me to close my blinds? Because I can get rid of this light in just about 2 seconds.
I didn't even notice it. But
yeah, I've got stripes.
If you want to get rid of it, you can.
Let me get rid of it.
Hold on. Go ahead. I'll play some music.
Play some music. I'll be right back.
We'll play a little klezmer while she goes and closes the blinds. I don't even know if she can hear this. I can like talk things about her and she won't even know. She's probably listening. Oh, there goes the light. There goes the light.
Let there be light and let the light go. Sometimes, and again, so, you know, just for all the folks out there, we actually did a lighting check, but the sun was in a different place. So,
you know, that's what happened the other day. That happened when we were I was working on this television project the other day, and they had me, and they had like 3 cameras and whatever going. But what happened was the sun was shifting through this house with all the windows. So we had to stop and keep refocusing the lights. Crazy.
Well, this is just as good. Just, you know, I just got rid of my stripes so that I wasn't.
Well, now that you got rid of your stripes, let's talk about you.
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been doing this?
Oh gosh. Well,
which is my next. Well, let me do this question. You're a psychic medium, clairvoyant. When did you know that you had this special gift? Because I must tell everybody it's a gift. When did you know?
So this is interesting because I didn't recognize it was a gift when I first realized I was different. I was about, and I think my mother's watching, so I'll just say hi, Mom, because she does not know this.
Right.
When it must have been about 3 years old because my brother Michael was about 6 months old or something. And I was in my room and I was having quiet time, as you will do with a 3-year-old when you're a pretty new mom.
Right.
And as a 3-year-old, you know, little kids study their bodies, right? And I was looking at my foot because I heard this vibration coming from my foot. And I looked and I turned my foot over because, you know, we're really flexible when we're 3.
Right.
We lose that. And I saw there was like a hole in my foot. And I saw this sort of white face staring back at me. And it was like super white, like almost like an egg.
Right.
You know, white. And it started talking to me. And I was like, well, what is this? I don't know what this is. And it started to rattle me and I was having fun at first.
Right.
Right. And then I was like, no, you need to go. And it bit me. Like it physically bit me and terrorized me. And
how old were you?
Like 3 and a half, something like that, right around then. And I remember it so clearly. I was not sleeping. I was actually looking at my foot.
Right.
And then there were things I remember as I was growing up, like little things like talking to my mom and saying, oh, I was at Aunt Esther's house or something. And this is, I pictured the room and I would describe the room and everything.
Right.
And she said, you couldn't have seen that because you were never there. I was only there when I was pregnant with you.
So, wow.
Yeah. And so at least in my family, it was not something that was this horrible thing. In fact, my yes, I have to count. My great grandmother, Veneziana,
Mhm.
was a healer in Romania.
So it's
So
passed down.
it was passed down, and I remember that my grandmother would talk about her and certain things she did and things like that. But one of the things she used to do is as a healer, she would go stay with women who were going through that really bad postpartum depression where
Mhm.
they like didn't want their babies and that really stuff, and she used to stay with them.
Wow.
So I kind of grew up with a little bit more acceptance than most people, but growing up as a psychic kid is super painful.
Right. Because you know what people are thinking about you or saying basically talking
Yes,
behind your back, but you already know what they're thinking. And that
right.
must be tough. You
It
know?
it really is. And then when you have instances where you just know things about people, like so I used to know when kids were being abused.
Oh, so you kind of felt, wow.
But then you're told, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. You can't say anything. You can't.
Right. Because then you were overstepping your bounds. So let me ask you something. Have you ever worked with police departments or detectives and what have you in different situations?
No, but people contact me all the time. I recently had a high school friend contact me about a very expensive ring after their
Right.
mother passed away.
Right.
And it was gone and it was lost. And actually I don't remember exactly what I told her, but I think I said, it's in like something white or something, it's
Uh-huh.
in something
Right.
and it's not lost. Don't worry about it. She didn't give it away. Nobody stole it. It's there. You just need to go through her stuff. And the best part about this particular one was that she doesn't believe a word of it. Like she doesn't buy into this. I don't know. And I got a call or a text or whatever, a communication, because I hear. By the way, so if somebody sends me a text, it's no different than when we're talking. To me,
Yeah.
that's how I hear it.
With
Yes,
that.
yes, I hear it. It's called clairaudience. I can hear the messages and the nuances of everything. So so sometimes I don't even know if somebody sent me a text, an email, or called me.
Right.
Because I hear their voice just the same. But she sent me a message that said, you are absolutely right. It was like in the underwear drawer underneath, a whole bunch of stuff. She must have stashed it. And I'm pretty good with pets too. I
Uh-oh.
found lost kittens and
Uh-huh.
things like that. Although I didn't do so well with an iguana recently, but
Was it an emotional support iguana?
I don't know. Somebody reached out to me, and I could see it very clearly where the iguana is, but they never found the iguana.
One of the funniest things was bringing up Allie again was I always misplaced stuff. And I would call her, go, Allie, I can't find my keys. Allie, I can't find my wallet. And she would like, dumbass, go look underneath this. Do you realize 100% of the time she would tell me where that damn wallet or the keys or whatever the
Yeah,
hell.
absolutely. Yeah.
So do you ever have okay, so speaking of the pets thing, I do people call you and ask you to sort of figure out what's going on in their pet's mind?
So that is not my primary focus.
Right, but
But if
just in
somebody
case.
asks me, actually, I did a reading earlier today for someone who was having trouble with a little puppy. But all of these things, so whether it's pet, other than a lost pet, let's say,
Right.
but when people are having issues or there's pet issues and things like that, actually somebody's on here, Lisa, hi Lisa, giving you a shout out,
Hey, Lisa.
called me when she thought that her kitty was passing away,
Aw.
and I gave the kitty a healing, and a lot of it is that person's relationship to the pet that I
Mhm.
give a healing to.
Right.
Right? Because that's the most important part, is their relationship to their pet.
Right. It's so funny. About a few years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, was giving. Somebody said give CBD stuff to your dog to calm him down.
Mhm.
So my crazy little champ is I was giving him the CBD stuff and putting it on his food, and he wasn't eating it. He would like eat around it and whatever. So I'm having lunch at this little outdoor patio restaurant in Studio City, California, with some friends, and I'm sitting there, and this woman comes walking by, and her name is Marla Freeze. I did not know her at the
I
time.
know that name. I
Yeah,
know that
Marla
name.
is like
Yeah.
a famous one of the
One of
Hollywood
the
people.
big, yeah.
Yeah, she's one of the big girls. And so this blonde woman comes walking by me, and she goes, your dog wants me to tell you something. I go, excuse me. And she goes, your dog wants you to tell you, stop it with the CBD oil. He doesn't want that. And he's not going to eat it, and he doesn't need it.
There you go.
And I went, are you serious? And she goes, I'm serious. From that day on, that little dog didn't get it. And then we ended up becoming friends, because then I realized who she was. I'm like, wow. And my friends were sitting at the table. I go, did this lady just stop? I said, that's so great.
Yes.
I'm a magnet. I'm a magnet for you people, for you gifted, wonderful people. It's like I can be sitting here and at a table, and a psychic or a medium or an astrologer will come up to me and go, hello. And I'm like, oh, hi. And whatever.
Because you're a bright, creative soul, Esther.
It's the hair.
That's what it's about. It's the hair. It's the bubbles. But the psychics is really it's all about creative process and everything.
Right.
So in order to create and see images, right? That's what we do. We see energy. We see images.
Have you ever experienced something that you just didn't want to be a part of, that scared you, that was negative?
Oh, you mean the Ouija board? When I was 17, before I was trained, and we conjured who knows what. Don't ever play with those things, people. Like, don't play with those things, because you don't know what you're bringing through. Yeah, we were playing around with the Ouija board, and we weren't even basically touching the glass, and it went flying off the table and into the wall, where it shattered. And I was like, okay, thanks, bye. Gotta go now. Yeah.
Wow. So they're real.
They're real, but you don't know what you're calling it. You know that thing about be careful what you wish for?
Mm-hmm. That's what that does.
It's great if you want to talk to grandma.
Mm-hmm.
But mediumship really isn't 1-800 dial a
Right.
dead person, right? Dial a spirit. It's just not. And very often, someone will come through, and maybe you can put their name to it, and they'll still come through. I always give messages, and that come through during a reading. Because I'm talking to that person's spirit. I do something a little bit differently, I think, because I don't predict the future, and I don't give advice, because of the free will factor. Everyone has free will to
Thank you.
Create. Yes.
Explain that. It goes back to what we were talking about before. It's not going to happen in the next 24 hours or the next 48 hours. Explain to people how free will works. And it's so amazing, Deb, that you're bringing this up, because it has been slapped in front of me at least 5 times in the last month and a half.
Corby said it. Adir said it, right? And yeah, that's what sucked me in, by the way, to both. I was like, yes, I need to be connected. Well, I was already connected with Corby, but then your other friend. And
did you get connected to Adir?
Yes.
Oh, good, because he's on vacation. He's up in wine country drinking wine, and then
Good for that gorgeous him.
That's
what I'm going to say about that. Look, good for that gorgeous. So we all have a future that we have sort of, let's say, laid out or mocked up, or sometimes our parents have done that for us.
Right.
But I can say where you're going to go.
Right.
So we all have a choice.
We do. And it's like all of a sudden, for instance, hypothetically speaking, someone says, well, you're going to be successful. You're going to be coming into, I feel, a large amount of something. It's hypothetical.
Yeah.
So what do people do? They sit around and wait for $1 million to pop into their bank account.
Exactly. And that's not what it's about. It's you
No.
still need to take the steps to do what you need to do.
Right.
I actually once had a guy I met. Oh, this is great. A guy I met on Facebook. We were Facebook friends, and he asked me out on a date. And I absolutely knew this was not going to work out in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And but I also come from a place that people can heal and people can change.
Of course.
So I went on that date knowing that. Okay. And one of the first things he said to me is, "Can you tell if this date's going to work out or not?"
Wait a minute. Did he know that?
Yes. Yeah. He knew exactly what I do. And he asked me flat out, "Do you know, what's going to happen?"
What'd you say?
Well, I laughed and I said, "Well, I like to give everything a chance because of just what you just said." Because let's say I decided that it wasn't going to work out, and then I canceled the date, and then they decided to get some healing somewhere,
right,
on something.
You could have been the healer.
It could have turned into that,
right.
Or I could have gone and particularly with relationships. Oh yeah, it's going to work out with this person. So sometimes then it causes you to not put the work into the relationship, which you need to do to keep that person anyway, because you're just assuming that someone told you. And when somebody tells you something like that, it's called programming.
Gotcha. Programming.
Yeah, they're programming you. And I have no interest in doing that. I'm interested in creating a healing space.
Right.
For everyone to be able to be who they are and get their creative expression going. Because when you clear that space, you know what? That relationship's going to come in. The exact right one that you need is going to come in because you're shining from your heart. You're shining your light. You're shining from everything.
Come in. You're allowing it to come in. Because so many people just they don't understand. You got to do the work. It'll come. You're going to be successful. Yes, but you're going to be successful because you're going to put the work in.
And it's okay to know. I can tell you, you're going to be successful, and it's going to be great. And then at least you then have something to go on. Actually, we had a conversation like that relatively recently, didn't we? And it wasn't like you were like, nope. Just
well, the thing is that people, they don't realize you're going to be successful. I know I'm going to be successful. I've been successful. Listen, my career has been up and down more than a cheap hooker's panties. I swear to God. But I know that I work hard. I may get knocked upside the head and pushed down, but I get up, I dust myself off, I start all over again, because you have to put the work in. Yeah, life has got bumps and grinds, and you deal with your ups and downs. Nothing's perfect. We know that. We don't live in the reality world of the Real Housewives and what television makes us think is the perfect life.
And those lives aren't perfect. Those are reality.
Right.
Those are fake reality TV, fake news.
Right. But the thing is, it's like you can give us sort of the guidelines for certain things. And then you take those guidelines. It's like a book. Here's all this information that I've given you as a psychic medium, and you put it up on the bookshelf. And you keep that information there. And when the time comes, you'll know, if you're smart and understand how it works, you take that book down and go, okay.
Right. It's not about somebody predicting your future, right? Because you have the free will to create your future.
Correct.
And in some ways, I think sometimes when people ask me, well, what is my future going to be? I'll tell them a potential or, something that might be on the horizon and things like that. But I also preface it.
Of course.
Can I answer that question for that person?
Yes, that is my friend, Nikki Luongo. She's
Hi,
wonderful.
Nikki.
Hi, Nick.
What about seeing things out of the corner of your eye? Yes. if you're asking me if I see things out of the corner of my eye, not only do I see things out of the corner of my eye, it is very eerie when I am walking down the street sometimes and I think somebody is walking beside me and there's actually nobody physically there, but I do recognize and see a full, let's say, being,
Right.
a spirit being that is walking next to me. But one of the things that I have that's always been very developed in my world is actually my clairaudience. And I talked about that before. That's clear hearing. So
Right.
I will hear the being many times, but I will hear my name called or something like that well beforehand.
What is she saying here? But life is connections. What if you can't become because a person isn't willing to give you the time to become a connection? Well, that's like, there are people, you see people who it just seems like, God, they have the worst luck, or they can never get out of that hole that they're in. And I can answer this, and I'm not a psychic, Nikki. I don't accept it. When people say no to me, I don't accept it. I keep asking, because everything I've ever gotten in my life is because I tell everybody. I've spoken at some classes with these young kids at some of the colleges here in Vegas, and they asked me, how do you become successful? I said, first you got to ask. I said, we go through life in fear of asking for help. And we're in fear because we don't think anybody's going to give us the answer. But guess what? The odds in life are 50-50, yes or no. And if you get a maybe, that's even better. But most people never ask. I mean, that's just what I'm saying. But so when it comes,
I'm going to add to that, if I may.
Please.
Because many times if we are asking for these connections, we are asking based on someone else's picture of who you should go to in the first place.
Right.
Not who is in alignment with who you are. But there's also something called, and I'm gonna get, for all my shape people out there, thank you so much for the support. This is one of my psychic group communities that I'm a part of. And my students, a bunch of my students and everything are on here as well, because I teach psychic development. But there's something called havingness, and that is how much can you have. Many times when we keep getting no, I will go in and do a reading for somebody and see that they've lowered their havingness or how much they can have. And then they will start to raise that and begin to have more.
Okay, so here's a question.
I know you're going to get me on that one. Yeah.
No. So what about people who just seem to go through life and everything just lands in their laps? They're just lucky.
They have a super high level of havingness, and there's many different ways of.
Is that like, reincarnation, past lives that you've worked yourself to a level to where it's different?
It can be partial, but you come into this lifetime for having more. Right? Because you always see people who, I'm from the other side of the tracks, I'm not going to have any more. You want to know a perfect example of non-havingness, not being able to have?
Yeah.
You see lottery winners who win $14 million and 3 years later they're broke.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not because they, it wasn't like they threw the money away necessarily, right? But they couldn't have that level of abundance. They couldn't have that.
Okay, this is interesting. My daughter Hannah hears voices and sees, is this psychic ability or chemical imbalance?
Without reading your daughter, because I'm not a psychiatrist or doctor or anything. What I would say is, first of all, we are all psychic and we all have these abilities. It's just what we develop at any given time, what we practice at any given time. We go to the gym and we work out to form our muscles, and our psychic abilities are just the same. So how I will answer that, Kay, is that your daughter Hannah is probably psychic, is probably very sensitive to energy and hears voices. And there's a way to, let's say, ground and get that focus. Like I had to go to school to learn that.
Right. But you have but we were talking earlier, you were talking earlier that you also teach psychic development.
Yes.
Is that something like her daughter? If it would be something that if she wanted to figure it out, she could.
Yes, because what many times is when people randomly hear or not so much see things, because when people see things, well, sometimes sometimes they think they might be going crazy. I do it all the time. I go, oh, is that there? Really? Did it for years.
Right.
But also I'll say it's getting more mainstream. So it's not like it was when I was growing up. We would not be having this conversation, 30 years ago.
No.
It would just not be happening.
It was still considered voodoo.
Right. It was taboo. It was out in Berkeley. It was, shh, they're getting high. They're doing acid.
Right.
Whatever. But yes, more than likely that is her psychic ability. And what I teach is how to focus that, how to get safe, and how to ground, and how to be, how would I say it? How to be senior to those voices, that you can turn it on and off. I turn it on and off all the time. Could you imagine being sensitive and walking into, because, I like my music concerts, right? Going to a Rolling Stones concert.
Yes, you are.
Like, no, I could not do that.
So so do you teach at a school or do you do online?
I have my own. So I used to be assistant director of a psychic school. So I taught people from that level, and I teach meditation, and it's really a psychic meditation.
So for instance, if Kay's daughter, Hannah, decided that she wanted to find out if this is something, could she take your course? Is it online or is it?
No, it's so I do it in modules. So the next one would start in January, but she acts normal. That's because she is normal.
There you go, Kay.
She's just super sensitive and seeing and hearing things, which isn't not normal. Well, to me, that's totally normal.
Right.
But so I do have. Can I talk about my workshop coming up in October?
Of course, I want you to talk about this.
So I don't have the date. I don't have the date yet, but I'm thinking it'll be the 29th of October. I'm just looking at a calendar. I'm going to do. I'll do a little workshop called Past Lives, Karma, and Curses, and we'll be getting everybody grounded and opening up their psychic abilities and having a look at some past lives and clearing some karma, possibly curses, things like that.
But if you're tuning in and you're just coming on or you can't stay the whole time that we're on here, Kay, just to let you know, all of the information on the YouTube channel, if you will see all of the ways to contact Deb. So it's really, really cool. It's really cool that you can get all this information and contact her. All that information will be on the show, and you'll be able to see that information. So that way you can take the course. So, but yeah,
take the course. Absolutely.
Everybody is telling me, Esther, you're psychic. You have it. And I do know that sometimes I just know things are going to happen, but I think we all have that. It's like deja vu. You have that
deja vu all over again.
I say it's God's way of having a rerun. Okay, here it happened. Good. Let's see it again. But I get but it's weird, Deb. Like recently. Okay. So everybody knows I have insomnia, but I haven't had insomnia since I started taking trazodone, which is a step up from a step down from Ambien and a step up from melatonin. But what has happened is I've been starting to get these dreams that are so real. Remember the one I was telling you a couple weeks ago? I was in Temple, and that was a dream, and I kept going, "This is crazy." But anyway, the rabbi made me come down and apologize to everybody at the temple.
That was the best. That was the best dream.
And I woke up and I was like, what the hell am I? It was bizarre. It was so bizarre. So also, I'm sitting here looking at your mentoring. Is that the mentoring that you do? Is
So that's part of this psychic development.
that's what I was going to say. Is that part of the psychic development?
Yeah, I mean, I just, that's the word of the day, mentor, coach. But it's really the psychic development. But I can do it for, if you want to contact me, just like you can go to Esther's page or Michael's, or you can, the links are here.
Spiritual light.
Oh my God. It's
spiritual light insight.
Esther, honey. It's right here. I wrote it. spiritlightinsight.com.
What'd you write it on? I haven't seen it yet. Hold on.
By my name.
Oh, duh. I'm looking for.
I made it super easy for you.
Right. If you put it down in the chat, it'll go up and everybody will see it.
Oh, wait. Can I put it in the chat?
I'm pretty sure you can.
Awesome. I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry, because I'm not actually logged in.
So it's Spirit Insight. I'm the worst typer. Hold on. Spirit. Remember, these glasses aren't real.
We're so good. So wait, was I supposed to log it? See, this is Mercury retrograde, right? I don't even know what I'm supposed to do here.
No. I thought maybe you could I thought you could Spirit Light. Hold on. Spirit Light Insight.
Yeah.
.com.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Spirit Light Insight.com. Let's see. Here we go.
Think of it. Yes, perfect. Think of it this way: Spirit Light Insight, or Spirit Light Insight. It works both ways, doesn't it?
Yes, she does. She does private. That's a private work is like a reading, and when you contact.
Yes, one-to-one. I also do one-to-one psychic development, which is the personal empowerment program.
Right.
And so that is more of a one-to-one, but it's it's a lot more fun to get on practice readings and things like that, and actually read people.
What happens, Kay, is you can do what we're doing, which is like this, but it'll just be you and Deb, or your daughter and Deb, and they can talk. You know, and it's in private. So, I'm sure your daughter, wondering what these voices are. The same thing as, when she had that whole thing that tried to attack her in her foot when she was 3. It's that you have to do that. And it's so amazing, Deb, because I talked to so many of you wonderful people, and everybody has a different story on how they got the gift. But every single one of them, I find it amazing. It always comes from a grandmother. It always seems to come from a grandmother, a great-grandmother, or a great-great-grandmother down the line. It's interesting. I never hear them talk about an uncle. It always seems to be the grandmother, the abuelita, or whatever. Is there something to that?
I don't know. I mean, I would suppose that it's passed down if you want to look at a karmic line and what your so it's interesting because I have a couple different views here on that, and I'll tell you why. Because one is I actually read people's genetic trees in readings sometimes, where I actually will go do, somebody's having a super hard time. Sometimes I'll look at their genetic tree and go and trace back the picture that they're working on for the family.
Right.
I can see, and it's very interesting, I can tell you if you're the child or like a grandchild and someone was in the Holocaust or things like that, because those hey Inez, those energies, those pictures are actually passed down for others to solve and heal.
Right.
Okay. So that's one side of it. But then there's also like the past life and the karma and things like that, and how you connect spiritually at your birth. Like you make agreements with your parents and grandparents and everything to be born into a particular family.
Which is one of those weird things with my life. I'm just like, what the hell went on? When you
right.
And listen, I don't do the poor pitiful me thing. It's been happening, but I lost my family when I was 5 and a half, almost 6 years old, and it's just me. I have no blood relative. Really, it's just me in this world.
So have you ever, and we haven't talked about this, and I know you have more on that, but can I, if I may interject for just a moment, have you ever looked at that part of their purpose was simply to birth the fabulous you
That's what I
onto this
thought.
planet?
No,
And
it's
then
funny.
they were done.
No. I'm trying to remember if it was you that was on Allie's show. It was either you. I don't think it was Corby. It might have been you. I mean, you all did so many of those damn blog radio things all the time.
We had a great time.
No, I'm saying, but you did so many of them. And I remember I was living in Hollywood, not Vegas, and I just remember being on one of those shows. And I just remember they were able to. My mother was my mother. They picked up my mother, and we knew that it was my mother because of something you said. You or Allie said, Michael motorcycle. And nobody knew that except for me because of my finger. This finger right here. Oops, I'll get it screwed up. When I almost cut my finger off, when I was 5.5, I fell into some glass and my finger got cut off. And I remember in the hospital, just like when you were 3, and you remember that moment. I was 5, and I remember my mother reeling me through the hospital and trying to make me laugh. And she was going, Michael motorcycle, and running me through. Nobody knew that. And I just became an emotional bag of teardrops.
Right.
I know it was you and Allie. I just know it. I can't, but I mean, there's so many things that you guys can't keep up with.
We did a lot. We did a lot together. Actually, Allie was absolutely instrumental in me getting back. I'd actually stepped away from doing any psychic work for quite a while due to some, circumstances and things like that. And Allie, I'll never forget, she's like, I want to have you on my show. And I'm like, why? I mean, that was my first, and I had been actually at the time, I worked with her. I worked with Wayne. I worked with Christina.
Oh yeah. Do you stay in touch with Christina?
Yeah, we're connected on Facebook. So I haven't really talked to her, but I've I'm connected with Claudio and all of them. And she was like, no, you need to come on. And I'll never forget. She goes, but you need to raise your prices. I'm not having you on unless you raise your prices. And I'm like, really? And where do you suggest that I raise them to?
And she told you.
She doubled. She said, you need to be double where you are.
Right.
And I laughed and I said, oh, okay. And I raised my prices. And suddenly I went from, a reading here and a reading there to a fully booked schedule. And I was like, what is happening here? And then I went on the show, and then, we just would stay on the phone for just hours and hours. It was amazing.
She died before so I could be born. My grandmother died
4 months before. Did she die
before
so I could be born?
I guess it depends on the circumstance.
No, she was done with the earthly plane. I will say this, not that I generally will do readings because I'm not in that space right now, but what I'm actually seeing here, Nikki, is that there's something about being together with her husband, with your grandpa, and that one of her jobs was to watch over you when you were a baby. Something was going on when you were a baby in your house, and she wanted to make sure that it was protected and safe there. And so it looks like there was something going on, that it wasn't a safe environment or something that was going on at the time. And so she was actually in communication with you while your mother was pregnant. So, yeah.
Wow. Nikki, is the incredible Debbie Taitel blowing your mind away right now? It's amazing. I actually got goosebumps. I actually got goosebumps here, because let me tell you something. This woman.
That's how you know it's real, by the way.
Yeah, when you get the goosebumps. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of different reasons for things. There's no one answer. Talk about a gray area. It's one giant gray area. So
Right. Okay, she just said
she's checking out. Yeah. I'm throwing you some grounding, some healing energy there, because it's not that you're checking out. Part of what's happening is you're releasing like a unconscious white energy that kind of surrounded you when you were a baby. So it's actually not that you're checking out, believe it or not. You're getting ready to check in more.
There you go. There you go.
How about that?
Wow, that was pretty, because we weren't going to do this.
We weren't going to do this. Yeah, we weren't. But if somebody asks a question like that,
and it just connects. It's okay, because you were supposed to do that.
Yeah, we're supposed to connect. So connect with me. Find me on Facebook. There've been a couple people said I want to connect with you, and just connect away. I'm on Facebook. You can find me through my website. You can find me all over.
Look at that. 50 minutes went by pretty fast, young lady.
I know.
Do you have any appointments coming up?
I believe it or not, I have a real estate appointment that I have to leave for at 4:30.
Okay.
My time. So I can go. In other words, if you want to go long, I'm good.
Okay. So what time is it there? 2:30? 3:30? What time is it there?
Yeah. What time is it here? It is
almost 2:00 here.
It's almost 4. So
so we got a couple more.
Wait. What time is it?
Oh, it's 1:51, which is 2:00 there, or 3:00?
Yeah. No, it's 4:00 here.
Well, then we can't stay too much longer.
We can't stay too much longer. But you know what are they? Isn't there like a showbiz thing, right? Always leave them wanting more.
Always leave them wanting more. Well, I mean, how much fun has this been?
This is so fun. It's been so fun. And
will you come back?
And absolutely, I'll come back. We didn't even get to half of the stuff you wanted to ask me.
No, we didn't get to it, but because you've got to run and sign.
Well, I don't have to run for another half hour, but I don't want you to.
Oh, look at that! Everybody just wow,
so sweet.
That very sweet.
Michael motorcycle. I love that, and that was like my,
I'm thinking it was you. I'm almost positive it was you.
I was probably my mother figured out how to comment.
We're talking 9 years ago. Oh, Vivian, that was your mother?
That's my mother.
Oh,
that's my mother.
Hi,
oh my gosh.
How are you?
Oh my gosh, that's
so much fun and great information. Yes,
that's one of my students. Deborah's one of my students. She's in my psychic development class right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, everybody, if you want to watch this again, it's on YouTube. It's on you can watch it on Facebook. It's on Esther's page. I'm sure it's on your page, but you can watch it on so many different levels. You are a doll. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. And I will be here anytime. I have to tell you something. Usually I get, when I tell you, so nervous that I can't breathe.
Right.
I have these crazy, silly anxiety attacks. And this was the first time I'm like, I am just having a ball, and
pressure?
We're talking about great things,
of course,
and it's stuff that needs to get out there. So everybody, seriously connect with me. I do great meditation.
Maybe we'll meditate the next time you come on.
we could do that. We could absolutely do that.
No, I'm serious. I told you I got my crystal that I got this weekend. Look at that big hunk of positive.
Oh, wait, I have this is my here. Wait, I have to share this with you. So remember these? You ever seen these?
Oh, those are little, what are they called? Whirly gigs or something?
Yeah, so it's like a stress spinner, right? You're supposed to stop you from being stressed. But when I saw this, I thought, wow, this looks just like a chakra, just like one of the energy centers. So I like to spin it and say, as the chakra turns.
As the chakra turns. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Deborah Taitel, my fabulous guest, almost like my little spiritual Jewish sister, a sister from another mother. Thank you so much. And remember, all the information to get a hold of Deb is going to be on this replay. Also on YouTube, Esther Goldberg TV. You'll see it. And hit her up. She's good. Nikki, have a cocktail. Do 2 shots. Thank you, my love.
Thank you, Esther, so much.
All right, honey. Have fun. Go sign that contract and sell a house.
I'm going to do that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye.
Bye.